Hello, it's your host Emily Drake on the podcast EarnestEars, and I am here with my guests
Neve,
Joyce,
Mary,
Mr. D.
Which I'm very happy to have with me. The purpose of this podcast is a solution for designing for connectedness, looking at ways in which there is disconnect in the world and reconnecting them. EarnestEars serves to promote meaningful discussion between generations, the older people on my right and the young adults, including me, on the left. Today we'll be discussing the theme of childhood, so we will start by asking, what does childhood mean to you? What do you broadly think of when I ask, or when I say the word childhood?
I think it's mostly about experiences and making mistakes and learning from that, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I think it just brings back memories of family and parents and growing up. Yes, yes.
I think, to me, childhood in the 50s, you knew what you were meant to be doing, you knew where you were meant to be. It was very secure.
Well, I find, firstly, quite interesting that I can't remember hardly anything about my childhood. Must be something missing there. But it was very adventurous childhood. I had a good time.
I remember you telling us stories when we were at Winstones, actually.
Yeah.
Just to say, there's no right or wrong answer to anything, and take your time when answering questions. And it's just to promote conversation. We don't have to stick to answering questions like an interview.
No.
It's not like that. It's meant to be just a nice little tea
chat.
party, basically. Yes. So, any funny or interesting stories that come to mind when you think of childhood? If you can't think of anything, don't worry, as there's other things to talk about.
It's a long time ago, isn't it?
Yes. I even struggle, and it was, I don't know, I'm still living in childhood, so.
I can remember going out on my father's bike. He had the crossbar on a man's bike, and he used to have a little saddle that he put on the crossbar, and I was on the crossbar. My mother was cycling as well, and we used to go off on a Sunday afternoon.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, and I can remember just sitting there.
Hopefully you didn't fall at all.
No. I
That's
suppose
good.
I must have been of an age when I could sit up. Sort of 2, 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Yes, that's one of the memories.
That's lovely. Yeah. So, quite positive memories. And
Yes. Oh yes.
Lovely.
Yes, happy memories. Yeah.
I remember putting my baby brother in my little doll's pram.
Oh, do you?
And he was about 18 months old and rather chubby. And I pushed him round our yard and he fell out, so I just... I just picked him up and put him back in again.
A similar thing, we used to have loads of puppies at one point. I used to put them in my doll's pram and go on walks with them.
With the
Slightly
puppies.
insane.
It was safe.
That's good. But yeah, a funny story I have from when I was younger, which I was very naughty, especially when it came to sweets. Me and my friend went to a little shop where they were selling moulds of animals as sugar, so little sugar mice.
Yes.
And they'd have a lot on display around the shop. And me and my friend had the best idea of going about the entire shop and licking every single one that was on display. And we thought we got away without anyone seeing us. But the person that ran the shop caught us and told our parents. So we had to buy, I think, in total about 100 sugar mice.
Oh my goodness.
We weren't allowed to eat. We thought this is great. We get to keep them now. But then we weren't allowed to eat any, which it's good because we were very, very naughty. That's not good.
Did you get scared when you got told off?
Very.
Yeah.
The shopkeeper was terrifying.
Because I used to cry the second someone shouted
Yeah.
at me in tears.
I think we deserved it. We should have licked.
And of
all
course, they
rice.
always look that much bigger
Yeah,
when you're small.
when you're tiny.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
I always used to think older people were just so tall.
They're all big.
Like, you get your life together at 16 because that's when you're as tall as the adults. But no, that's not how it works.
No.
I guess you never quite get your life together completely.
No. So do you still like sugar mine?
No, I haven't had one since. I've been scarred.
Although my earliest memory of all, I think, and I must have been about 3 years old,
Mm-hmm.
which normally one doesn't remember back that far easily, you know what I mean? Was walking into this very hot garden with all the grass was yellow, and this one tree sitting in the garden with a big dark shadow under it. And I looked at this tree and I was kind of looking at it, and I suddenly realised, you know, in my little self, that the tree was as alive, as ensouled in a certain way, as any human being.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it said, you know, it didn't speak to me, but that's what was there. It just was a presence, and that was.
I didn't think that deeply when I was that young.
No, I didn't. It was just there. It's a presence.
I guess it's just the realisation that, wow, things are alive. It's not just me. I'm not the centre of the universe.
No, it was deeper than that. It was deeper than that. Fuller,
Yeah.
in so much as this tree was, which I think a lot of people, a great many people believe anyhow, that trees and plants and everything are not just physical little things, you know, that come up here. They got more to them.
Yeah.
King Charles is one who believes that, so I'm not saying he's that bright or could get it right, but anyhow he still believes it. And then I remember running in my this house, and again, how old was I? I can't remember.
Where was this? Do
In
you
Africa,
remember?
all in Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and tripping on the carpet and falling, and my head hitting the steel doorway. I was trying to run out the doorway, yeah.
Gosh.
And I kind of went, oh, it was. I can't remember how it felt, but I went like this,
And then
and my hand was full of kind of pure white jelly,
What?
which was my brain, you know, kind of like fluid, my brain fluid.
Wait, what?
Really?
It cracked right through my skull. Yeah.
Oh
My
my
goodness.
goodness!
Oh, that's disgusting.
How did you go to the hospital and get it all?
I suppose so.
You don't remember that?
I don't remember. No.
Oh gosh.
I find that about memory myself when
not what I was
from
expecting.
childhood, is that there are these kind of, you know, shine out moments, you know, strong moments, yes, that
But you remember
you
completely.
can scan through and just miss, and then suddenly, there's
Yeah.
something is, yeah.
It's like core memories, things that stand out. Gosh, that's not the most pleasant memory.
No.
Did I tell you about the time when I first fell into the canal?
Yes, you
When-
did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because I used to live on a narrow
This is
boat.
Did
funny.
you do that quite often then? If that was the
No,
first
once, and I
time?
learnt my lesson. So basically, it was our first day moving onto the boat. We hadn't properly moved everything either.
Wait, it was your first day?
Yeah,
I didn't
it was
know
my
that.
first day. Very good.
Oh, gosh.
Did very well. And I had this ladybird, and I thought it was dead, so I was carrying it back to the boat to look after it. And so I was walking along the jetty, the wooden bit across the water, and I was looking at the ladybird, not where I was going, so I just walked straight off the edge. And the whole thing scraped along my back.
Wait,
It's
how?
horrible.
Yes.
Oh, you didn't tell me
That can be
one.
quite dangerous, can't it?
Yeah, it can.
Did you
Yeah.
swim? Do you have to swim?
I hate water. But I can swim, it's
Maybe
fine.
that's where your fear of
Maybe
water came from.
no, it wasn't really that deep. Because it was so cold, I'd gone like numb.
Mm.
That's why it was so dangerous.
It's a shock,
'cause
isn't it?
It's a shock, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
scary.
I didn't fall in again though, so
No.
it's
You
fine.
learnt
No.
the lesson.
Yeah.
I know my daughter was on a trip with the school, and they were on the canal, and they were trying to get onto the boat,
Yeah.
and she jumped and she
Oh no.
misjudged it, and one of the boys grabbed her, but she would have gone down between the boat and the lock. So the boy managed to hold on to her.
Oh,
you.
Thank goodness, that's.
But she didn't tell me about this until years later.
Yeah, I had a very scary experience of water actually.
Oh no.
Again in Africa, there was this island, beautiful island, small one, called Prison Island, and on it were giant tortoises, or
Wow.
I suppose.
Hmm.
And I was the age where they were up to about here on me.
I've seen them.
that's
Their
very
backs,
big.
I mean, they're
Yeah,
big.
yeah,
Yeah,
The
enormous.
one with the beaks. That just.
Oh, extraordinary creatures. And at some time in the day, I went out for a swim.
Mhm.
We were all very good at swimming. We swam loads, yeah.
Mm.
And I saw the coral reef, and the coral reef's got gaps in it. Yeah, where the big ocean's outside and
Mhm.
the safe place is inside. So I thought, there's quite a few gaps. I'll go out a gap, swim down, and come back in another gap. So only swimming. No gap, no gap, no gap, no gap. And inside it's the reef, and you can look down and see lots of little fish and sand and all sorts of stuff. Outside, it's dark blue, black.
Gosh.
You can't see.
This is really not helping my water phobia.
Oh,
But I found a way in eventually.
That's good. That's
But
scary.
it was a strange feeling.
It's just
So
vast.
was that the depth?
The depth
Because it's
makes
so
it very
deep.
dark. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
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 I think a lot of those islands are volcanic, so they're like a top of a volcano.
Oh yes.
You know, and they're like
They
this. Yeah.
Did you have any pets when you were younger?
Did I have any?
How many pets?
No. Well, I think we had budgies. We had,
I love birds. Yeah.
but I can't do with birds fluttering.
Oh
I think probably that was the start of my fear
no.
because it used to. My parents would have the door open of the cage, and if we were sat at the table, it would just fly and land on your head and just sit there.
No. They can
And
nest in your head.
I've got a fear of birds now, sort of
Yeah.
getting tangled up in your hair. But
Or like seagulls stealing your sandwiches.
and I think we had rabbits, but no dogs, cats. I don't remember
Mm.
dogs and cats. No.
Do you remember where you lived when you were younger?
Oh yes, I lived in Rugby.
Mhm.
Yes, I can remember the house. We lived in it for years. I was there until I left at sort of 18.
Okay.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes. So I've got lots of memories there.
lovely.
Yeah.
We had a dog called Joby. My dad brought him home on the crossbar of his bicycle.
Oh.
He was a bit of a naughty dog, and he didn't like men. He let them in, but he
Was
wouldn't
he
let them out.
Was he a small dog to be on the crossbar?
Well, yeah, not too large,
No.
but he didn't like men, and he'd let them in, but he wouldn't let them out again.
Oh, dear.
We have various pets,
Mm.
actual house things, you know.
Mhm.
Mm.
And my first dog was given to me when I was how old? Oh gosh, right. 9, 10, I guess. And he was a Doberman, big male Doberman,
Mm.
called Rudolf von Stromberg.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness me!
I know.
Name.
And we discovered he hated the colour black. He hated it.
Really?
Couldn't stand it.
Mm.
This is in Africa.
Yeah.
So that's not kind of very useful. And we discovered it when the priest came one day in his black cassock.
Oh gosh.
And the
Yeah.
dog just went for him and pinned him to the wall.
Strange.
With, in his face. He-
Oh, that's scary.
And then we suddenly thought of all the incidents to do with the colour black and black people and this and that, which he just couldn't stand.
Gosh,
Mm.
I know.
that's
I know.
really strange.
So we had to send him away.
Did he come from
A farm.
a shelter or just?
No, I don't think so. I don't know, though. I don't know.
Sometimes they have bad experiences.
Yeah, that was a
with
drag.
all sorts.
He was
Yeah.
a nice...
Did you have wild animals around where you lived?
Yes.
Mm.
It was the days when one did.
Mm.
These days, I don't think where we used to live there are any wild animals, probably. Lions, hyenas, a lot of snakes,
Ooh.
nasty snakes, cobras,
Mm.
Were you ever bitten?
Mm.
black mambas. No, never bitten. Was I? No. 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 But yeah, there were lots of animals.
I'm sure there's a lot of similarities and differences. How do you think technology has impacted the way children experience childhood now compared to when you were young?
Badly.
Technology.
Badly.
How
So
come?
Completely.
I think children have been robbed of the here and now, robbed of really connecting with, exploring
Oh, yes.
the reality
Yeah.
around them, you know, the
Exploring,
world,
definitely.
the
So,
people,
yeah. It's just like
everything.
constant.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Young
immediate, isn't it? You know, it's
Yeah.
immediately there.
It's just
I
like
see like toddlers with big,
Yeah.
massive phones now.
Oh,
all
I
the
know.
time.
constantly on
Yes.
iPads.
Yes.
It's like stimulation to
Like,
the extreme.
I think we, especially because of the
Yeah.
Steiner upbringing, we were brought up quite without technology for
Yeah.
quite a while, which was
I mean, I didn't have a phone until I was about, I don't know, 13, which is still quite early, but I mean, now it's
Compared
expected to
to-
have phones, especially if
Yeah.
you're out and about.
Yeah.
You never know if something bad's going to happen, but even so, it's depressing. Our attention span is so zoned in on
Yes,
a reality that isn't even real.
Although it could also connect one with what else is going on in the world,
That's true.
you know, but that's a
But I think
stepping
physical
a bit towards
experiences.
adulthood, that
yeah.
a bit.
It's that exploring of something that's unknown, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're developing your mind, really.
Physical experiences are more valuable than, I don't know, digital knowledge, in my opinion, because going out in the world and just having these stories to tell
Yes.
is so much better.
Yes.
So, I mean, we went on an exchange trip to Slovenia recently.
Oh,
And
that's just
I'm
interesting.
really, it was an experience. But I'm really glad that I have those stories to tell when I'm older, because other than, you know, I just sat inside and scrolled for hours, you know. So I'm glad we have that.
Yeah, and definitely also growing up on a boat, I was always outdoors exploring like all the time.
But a lot of children, they don't go outside in the garden virtually at all.
No,
so
no,
sad.
they're not
You
allowed to
walk
get
around
dirty
anyway.
and
You see
play with
children in the
worms.
garden.
Like, where did that's the whole point of childhood.
Yes,
to
it is.
explore
Learning how to...
sensory things.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how since technology has developed so quickly,
Yes.
it's taken over the youth's mind so much compared to when you were young. And I mean, obviously there's differences in culture and places.
Yes,
But
yes.
I don't know, you can see the effect, especially
Yes.
with eye contact and
And physical, I mean, a lot of technology, you're just sitting. Whereas normally you'd be running about and playing in the garden.
climbing trees.
And how,
Great
yeah,
fun.
climbing trees, yes, yeah.
We know a lot about that.
Falling out of trees.
Well, we didn't have television, and
You didn't have television?
no.
No, we didn't.
No.
No. I don't think it hadn't been invented then. Or possibly.
Or a telephone or anything, connection really with them.
Yeah.
No, even having a car then was
No,
was
we didn't
something.
we didn't have
We
a car
didn't when I
either.
was smaller. No, no.
Gosh. Things have changed so
Oh,
so much.
completely.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And
I mean,
witnessing that must be an interesting experience, because this is the reality that we know. But
you just go along with it though, don't
Yeah.
you? You know, you're not really conscious that you're changing
Yeah.
or things are changing too much. You just go along with it.
I mean, a lot of older people completely stay away from technology and don't embrace it.
Yes.
And I know that you use
I like,
technology.
yes,
yeah.
I like to have a go.
Yeah, and that's admirable because it's confusing.
The trouble is, it can be a bit embarrassing if you know so much but not enough to.
Yeah.
I'm always having.
I'm
I've got
awful
two
with
sons.
technology. Emily always has to help me.
No, I'm bad.
Yeah.
It's how to work with things as well. Wow.
Okay, that's it for EarnestEars this episode. Move it, Neve. Thank you for watching. Please watch our next episodes. I don't know how many there will be. And finally, one final question for our wonderful guests. How do you feel about this episode? Like, how's it been discussing childhood as a topic?
Been interesting.
Yeah.
For lack of other words.
We delved a bit deep.
We
deeper
did.
than what we thought. Yes.
Yes. So.
And it's interesting to hear other people's, their views of childhood as well. Yeah.
And that's it. Thank you.
Is it all done?
Well, that one.